Hey everybody, this is Pooka and welcome to the third episode of Poké Center, your home for Pokemon TCG news, tournament results, and more. In this week's episode, we'll be discussing the results from the second weekend of state championships, some new scans from some cards in Japan, and also some new scans from the upcoming English set Dark Explorers. So, stick around, that's coming up next on Poké Center. Alright, we are finished up with the second weekend of state championships. In the first weekend, the big story was the dominance of the big three decks, but also the introduction of a new deck, the solo Terrakion deck, which sometimes features Landorus as well, which did win a state championship and placed well at other ones. The big story was going to be, can this deck survive into week 2 and maybe be even better? Or will it fall by the wayside, and will we see any other new decks come about? So, in the second weekend, we did see Zekrom Electric once again win the most state championships with 6. However, Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus was right on its trail, also having 6 wins this week, so they actually tied for the most wins in this week. And then, actually, Durant did not win a single state championship this week. So, after winning 2 the previous week, it did not win any this week. Not sure what to attribute that to. Maybe the rise of the Terrakion deck had a little bit of something to do with that. Speaking of that, the Terrakion deck did win a state championship, so that makes 2 now for that deck. And also we saw some other new decks. A Tornadus Terrakion Mewtwo deck, which people have called the Troll deck. And also a Donphan Mewtwo deck, which kind of surprising to see because Donphan is widely considered to be kind of past its time, past its prime, even if you want to go there. So surprising to see Donphan do so well, but maybe you can attribute that to the rise in the popularity of the Zekrom Electric decks, and of course it features Mewtwo as well. So those were the winners from North America for the second week. We do have some international results as well. Looks like overseas we got Durant winning the most with 2 state championships. And then we have 1 Zekrom Electric deck, 1 Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus deck. And then some strange results. We have the Truth actually winning 1, and Chandelure as well. So Trainer Lock still seeing some play out there overseas. Very surprised to hear that. But those are the results. So, when we combine the 2 weeks, we have Zekrom Electric with 15 wins, Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus has 13, Durant has 2, Terrakion has 2, and then the Troll deck has 1, and the Donphan Mewtwo deck has 1. And this is just for North America. If you want to add in the other results from overseas, you can do that as well. But for the time being, it looks like this format has 2 clear-cut top decks that are the most popular, which would be the Zekrom Electric deck and Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus. And then, of course, there are some other decks sticking around there too, but for the most part, these are the 2 big decks of the format, and they are the ones you gotta beat. So we'll see, heading into the third week of state championships, if we see anything innovative from people, or if these trends will stay the same. Will anything knock Zekrom Electric off its throne, or is it simply too strong and too popular, and will it dominate all 3 weeks of the state championships? So, we'll find that out this weekend, and if you don't have a chance to make it out to a state championship this weekend, we'll actually be streaming live from Illinois and perhaps Maryland as well, so stay tuned to our stream page, which is twitch.tv/thetopcut. We will be attempting to stream the event live so you can catch some action from home even if you can't make it out there. So be aware of that. We'll also post on our Facebook and Twitter pages if we do go live. So there's something to look forward to, even if you can't make it out this weekend. Last week I reported on some scans from the newest set in Japan, which is Dragon Blade and Dragon Blast. We showed the Giratina EX and the Rayquaza EX as well. And now this week, the scans for the entire set have been translated and posted on Pokebeach.com. Some notable cards from that set include a Mew EX, which is more or less a reprint of the old Legend Maker Mew EX, which is kind of cool. And also some more EXs, some cool trainers, and a new type of energy called Blend Energy that actually acts as one of 4 types, depending on which one you use. And it's just a special energy that's kind of a half rainbow, if you want to put it that way. But there are no drawbacks to the card. It just counts as one of 4 energy types. So, some cool new stuff coming out from that set. Looking forward to seeing when that set comes out in the US, or is printed as an English set, however you want to put it. And it won't be for a while, but that'll definitely be a game changer in Japan, I'm sure, and of course when it comes out here in the US. Scan of a brand new Pokemon has been released on Pokebeach.com. The new Pokemon Keldeo is a water-type legendary Pokemon. It's supposed to go along with the other legendary Pokemon like Virizion, Cobalion, and Terrakion, and now we have Keldeo apparently. So there's a scan of this card up on Pokebeach.com. Just kind of something cool to note. A new Pokemon's being introduced, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of merchandise and some other stuff to go along with it. So just thought I would mention that. It's always cool to see a new Pokemon come along, and it's also interesting to note that the card itself isn't really that good, which is a strange trend. Usually the legendary Pokemon are quite good. That's been the trend recently, but Keldeo looks like just a normal Pokemon. Nothing too groundbreaking, but here it is, and I guess we're going to have to learn to love him. Scans for some new cards from the next set here in the US, Dark Explorers, have been released on Pokebeach.com, so check those out if you're interested. The notable cards that were released are Darkrai EX, which is a cool looking guy, and also Zoroark, which has a nice attack as well. These 2 cards I'm sure we'll see play when they come out, and we do have English scans of them, so they are guaranteed to be in the next set. We're not sure what else exactly is in the next set besides an Umbreon as well, but you can check out the pack art in addition to these 3 cards that were scanned and shown here. So we will get those before Nationals, actually before Battle Roads, so they will be usable this season. They'll probably be the last set we get for the season, so that's what we have to look forward to. If you're a competitive player, you're going to be looking to incorporate these cards into your deck come Nationals, so definitely something to look at and some cool new news. Alright, now we'll get into the question and answer segment of the show. Every week I would like to take some questions from the viewers and answer them here, just kind of a way to interact with people. So if you have any questions, please send them to ttcpokecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's ttcpokecenter@gmail.com. Every week I'll answer a few questions, so if there's something you really want to know, ask me, and I might answer it. So, for this week, the first question is from someone named Felipe Passos. He says he's from Brazil, and he's a big fan of the Top Cut, so thank you. And his question is Gardevoir Gothitelle a good deck choice for States? So, thanks for the question, Felipe. My answer would have to be no, probably not. Even though it seems like a good idea in theory, there's just one guy who kind of gets in the way, and that's Mewtwo EX. Even though Gothitelle is pretty good, and Gardevoir helps you power up Gothitelle faster, really, once you get a Gothitelle going, all it takes is a Mewtwo EX and a double colorless energy, and your Gothitelle's knocked out. And early on in the game, Mewtwo EX is going to knock out a bunch of stuff too. So really, it's not worth it to set up all that stuff, when really at the end of the game, you're just going to be knocked out by Mewtwo anyway. So overall, I would say no, not really worth it. It's a cool idea, but I gotta say, I don't really think it'll be that successful. If you find a way to work, more power to you. Find a way to get it to work, more power to you, but I really don't see it happening anytime soon. Mewtwo EX is just that strong, and I don't know if there's anything you can really do about it. So, thanks for the question, though. The next question comes from Jonathan Owens. It says, I was wondering what's your opinion on playing 1 or 2 Virizion so you can deal with all the Terrakion decks that are popping up. He says he plays Zekrom Electric, so he personally likes it, but he wants to know how I feel it'll do. Now, Virizion is an interesting choice. Of course, it is grass, and Terrakion is weak to grass. The problem is, if you're trying to play it in a Zekrom Electric deck, you're going to have to start running Grass Energy or Prism Energy. Either one you really don't want to do. You're already running Lightning and double Colorless probably. So running Prism as well, kind of going to clog up your energy line. Going to make it tougher for you to actually get Lightning Energy in the discard pile to use Dynamotor. Even when you do get the Grass, Virizion Leaf Wall Up only does 40 the first time. And if they catch her around it, it's only going to do 40 the second time. So I really don't think Virizion is the best option. Maybe Tornadus might be a little better, but overall it actually seems like Mewtwo happens to be the best way to beat these Terrakion decks. As long as you play Eviolite, Terrakion takes 3 hits to knock out a Mewtwo, unless somehow they have 3+ powers the second time they hit you. So Mewtwo actually seems like the best way to deal with Terrakion, and if you don't want to do that, Tornadus does a good job as well. So I would say probably not to the Virizion. If you're playing a Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus deck, maybe I would throw in a Virizion just because you're already playing the Grass Energy, but otherwise I wouldn't add in Virizion just to try to counter Terrakion because it's going to mess with your energy line. So those are the 2 questions I'm going to answer this week. Thank you everybody who actually sent in questions. I appreciate it. Hoping to answer more questions next week. So, thank you, and remember, if you have any more questions, please send me an email at ttcpokecenter@gmail.com. Alright, that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of Poké Center. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for the show, please leave feedback down in the comments section, or you can send me an email at ttcpokecenter@gmail.com. We look at all the feedback. We're always looking to improve, so any help you can provide with us would be great. So, thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions for stuff you'd like to hear about on the next show, I'm open to that as well. I'm always looking for new TCG news. I usually check out PokeBeach, and usually pretty up to date on this stuff, but I do miss some things sometimes, so if there's anything more specifically you'd like to hear about, please let me know, and I'll try to incorporate that in the next shows. So, until then, thank you for watching. This has been Poké Center, and I'll see you guys next week.